Prisms are kind of funny. This is a 2" by 2" by 5" block of acrylic, and it acts as a prism. And it has some interesting properties when you do that, and the important one for today is that if you are looking in one end of the prism, then you can see straight across, light travels through it, that direction, great. But if you tried to look out one of the sides when you're looking in an end, you actually can't, because the light inside is bouncing off of the inside wall of that. And we are going to take advantage of that to make a special prism that flips all of your world upside down when you look through it. Right now, if I look through this, it just, I can see right through it. It's really nice and clear. But if we cut this direction and bisect this from one corner to the other, all the way down, so we have a triangular prism, then we'll be able to look in the side, and the fact that the light is going to bounce off of the sides inside the prism will make it so that if we look in from the side, we'll actually see everything flipped upside down, because it'll be going in one side, bouncing off the top, and then coming back to our eyes at approximately the right angle, but upside down. So that's what we're gonna do today, and then once we've got some goggles that flip our vision upside down, we're gonna try and do some interesting things with them, like paint, or just walk around. First step is cutting this in half, and we're gonna try and use a bandsaw for that. So I'm gonna be using this bandsaw, and I have this angled piece of aluminum on here, and I'm going to use that as a guide to help me try and keep my cut even and straight as I go. Interestingly, at the end there, it actually was starting to curve a little bit. So somewhere, it looks like just this last little bit, somehow the blade got pushed into a curve and then it just stayed in that curve. So we have a little bit of bowing right here. I maybe could have aligned the guide on the saw a little bit better to get a slightly more accurate bisection, but the bigger problem is that this prism that I bought wasn't actually perfectly square. It was 1.88 inches by 1.96 inches. Time to do some sanding. That polish is working pretty great. I'm happy with it, and we're already getting the effect. Like, to the camera, I expect my eyes look like they're blinking the wrong direction. And to me, it looks like my cameraman is standing on the ceiling. So now what we gotta do is attach this into a pair of goggles and make it so I can wear it comfortably. I've got this lovely pair of lab goggles, and this is what I'm gonna be modifying. I'm gonna cut a hole into it and install our prism inside there. All right, if I've measured correctly, I've got this rectangle drawn onto the goggles, and that's what I'm gonna try and cut, see how well my prism fits in there. The prism fits pretty well in the hole I've made in the goggles, but it doesn't fit up against my face, even if I'm not wearing a backup pair of safety goggles at the same time. So what I do need to do is shape into the prism itself. So I've got a small wheel on the belt grinder, and use that to just make it so this fits better against my face. So with my first pair of goggles, it turned out that with how far away I had to have the prism from my eyes, the hole that I cut was actually too large. So I grabbed a second pair, these are pretty cheap, and I cut a smaller hole. So now the prism is going to stick out the front a decent amount, but it fits and it holds everything, and believe it or not, the amount that it's overlapping actually does not impede the view. Because the light is coming in at bouncing angles, it's just fine like that. So that's gonna be my angle, and now I just gotta get it attached. I've got a hot glue gun, and I'm gonna see how good of a job that does. So now what I need to do, because this is all working great. It stays on, I'm seeing upside down just the way I want to. It's positioned pretty nicely so that, you know, what's straight ahead of me without the goggles is straight ahead of me with the goggles. That's just what I wanted. But I've got all this other goggle space that I'm gonna end up like cheating out of. I'm gonna end up looking out of it. Light is coming down in through here and then it gets deflected out sideways. So I do want to cover over this. It actually helps everything look a little bit better if it doesn't have extra light flying in there. And then I want to cover all the sides of the goggles so I don't accidentally look out those. All right, my goggles are complete. I gotta say, I think they're looking great. Now it's time to try doing some super basic stuff with them. Okay, writing my name. So I gotta admit, I'm not just relying on sight. Mostly I'm writing my name by memory of how to do it, like the way I would if my eyes were closed. And then I'm just kind of watching myself as though a third party was doing it. Very difficult. All right, now I'm going to see if I can write my name so to me it looks correct. If I could avoid laughing too much. Which direction is it? There's no more directions to go. Oh no, I did it wrong. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Oh, I'm so good. Oh my word, this is difficult. So, something that's interesting. Before I ever tried these goggles, I first heard about glasses that had this effect of flipping everything upside down in a psychology class. And what they said about it was interesting because if you know how our eyes work, we have a lens and the light comes from the outside world. It goes through that lens and is projected onto the back of your retina. And so technically everything that we see is upside down. Our eye is processing upside down information, but our brain flips it. And theoretically, if you wear glasses like this for long enough that flip your vision, you get used to it. And in fact, one of the things they said is that people who wore them for several days, up to a week or something like that, their brain flipped it back so that it looked normal to them. Now, I don't know how accurate or true that is, and at least for this video, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not gonna be wearing these for a week to see how I can get used to it. How interested would you guys be in seeing me try that? I don't know if I can handle it. It might be that after 30 minutes, I feel motion sick and need to take them off or something like that. I'm gonna try something a little more artistic. I am now going to attempt to walk down to the end of the shop, around the tables, and back. Oh, I don't think it's better looking at my feet. Oh, the grinder. That'd be a trick. Trying to make a knife upside down. I made it. Interestingly, I can look side to side and it's just like, all right, I mean, it's all upside down, but it just stays in the same plane. Any up and down or back and forth. Oh dear. All right, well, with my goggles all built up, it's time to move on to the actual project for today, which is to see if I can follow along with and paint a Bob Ross style painting while wearing the goggles. So I've got my canvas right here. I've got a tablet on which the Bob Ross episode I'm following along with will be playing. I've got paint washing, this piece of masonite, which will be my palette. It's kind of a one-time use thing, but it's all I could find. I've got all of my paints, I've got my brushes, I've got my paper towel, I've got a bucket with a PVC pipe running through it because I'm gonna use that to beat the devil out of the brush to clean it off a little bit more. And this is gonna be a lot of nonsense. All right, we have our 18 by 24 pre-stretched, double primed canvas. Now he was just starting to explain the colors that we need, and titanium white was the first one. So I need to take titanium white and get it on my palette. Oh my gosh, that's so much easier if I just close my eyes and go by proprioception. Well, it took me an absurdly long time, but I finally have my paints laid out on the board. So it's time to actually start following instructions, and that begins with some phthalo blue. He got some more blue, but he also grabbed a little bit of the phthalo green. Oh, I wasn't supposed to have any curved bits. It's not supposed to curve. That's a lot of black and green. There's not much blue. Oh, those lines aren't straight. Bob, I'm sorry. I'm making too many happy accidents. Oh, I keep angling. I'm trying to like correct, but then I keep correcting the wrong direction. Oh, Bob, I'm sorry, Bob. Please forgive my many happy accidents. I'm gonna see if I can add my mountains in. Ah, I feel a happy accident coming. I feel it. Trying to keep my palette knife on the canvas is tricky because I keep moving it the wrong direction and holding it the wrong way. Oh, look at that. That was good. That was a good one, Nate. Way to go. Yeah. Nope. My mountains clearly are looking amazing, so it's time to add some snow to them. There's my slightly still too pink snow. Oh, this is gonna be some weird snow, Bob. Weird snow. My mountain is on planet Disasterland. Zigzaggy thing. There's like angle of the brush you're supposed to get it at, and like the back and forth, and like you press it at the right angle and you get like this nice Z shape. Okay, I've progressed a little bit. I added some rocks and bushes. Now I'm just trying to add a little bit of some tree trunks in here. Come on, knife, go to the right angle and spot. Yeah, there it is. Big stone. Big stone. Big strong tree. It doesn't look strong. All right, my masterpiece is complete. The painting is all finished. I haven't seen what it looks like without the goggles yet. I have a pretty good idea. It being upside down does not take away all of the mystery. Let's see how this reveal goes. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I thought it looked like. I know I had everything upside down and then it just mirrors this way, but in my head, as I'm doing it, it thinks of upside down as being rotated, not reflective. So I know I've been painting like this tree on this side all the time and like the lake over on this side all the time. In my head, it was gonna be the opposite, even though like that's where I see it, but my brain thought it was gonna like spin, even though obviously it's not. That's just not how these goggles work. But even though I had to physically move my hand to those sides of the canvas while I was doing it, it doesn't have a good grasp of where things were going. So Bob Ross painting completed, wearing goggles that flip your vision upside down. Not easy, definitely not easy. These things are a trip. Every part of this was difficult. Just putting paint on the palette, trying to grab the paper towels. If you can really rewire your brain to see that as normal, that would be very interesting to learn because it does not come naturally. As a reference, this is a Bob Ross painting I did some time ago where I was not wearing goggles that flipped my vision upside down. I feel that this one turned out a little better than that one. It's not perfect. This was one of my first attempts, but I gotta say, some parts of it went a little smoother. It also took less time. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If there's more stuff you want to see me try with the upside down goggles, let me know down in the comments. I might be interested. A very special thank you shout out to everyone who supports me on Patreon. What I'm doing would not be possible without you. If you're interested in joining in to support me on Patreon, the link for that is in the description. My neck and eyes, I'm getting flashes of like disorientation, like just standing here all of a sudden I'm just like, oh.